Hello everyone. Some historians have said the following. Austria's greatest achievement in the 20th century was convincing the world that Beethoven was Austrian and Hitler was German, while in fact it was the opposite. Behind this deception lies a guilty Austria that supported annexation into Germany and cheered leader Hitler. Yet after World War II ended, they portrayed themselves as victims of invasion, refused reparations, and avoided responsibility. Why did this happen? Let's find out together. In 1938, Hitler pursued his dream of a great empire. He wanted to unify all countries with large German populations, including neighboring Austria. By applying pressure, Hitler forced Prime Minister Schuschnigg to appoint pro-Berlin politicians to ensure a peaceful annexation, rather than obedience. The Austrian leader called for a referendum with two options: 1. Alliance with Germany, 2. Fight to maintain sovereignty. However, threats of bloody invasion later made Schuschnigg falter. He cancelled the referendum and resigned, leaving the decision to a new prime minister. Afterwards, a Nazi-appointed Austrian supported annexation and took over. Oddly, when German troops entered Austria, they were welcomed enthusiastically by most citizens. This is why later debates occurred over whether Austria was truly a victim of invasion. We need to clarify this point. Why did Austrians celebrate Hitler? First, the public's willingness to merge avoided bloodshed. Second, hoping the economic achievements trumpeted by Hitler would improve their lives within the German Empire. Third, Hitler's propaganda successfully convinced Austrians they were the superior Aryan race, just like Germans, a source of pride since the dictator was born in Austria. Thus, Austrians did not feel humiliated when their territory merged under the regime of a leader from their homeland. After becoming German citizens, Austrians eagerly joined the military, comprising nearly 1 million soldiers and greatly contributing to Hitler's early victories. Notably, about 70% of concentration camp commandants and 40% of staff were of Austrian origin, brutal killers who mercilessly massacred Jews. However, despite what most Austrian citizens did, from agreeing to annexation, not resisting, to voluntarily joining the German army, they were not harshly condemned. In October 1943, the foreign ministers of the UK, France, US, and USSR met in Moscow to issue a joint statement on Austria's post-war status. They considered it a victim of invasion that would be liberated from German domination, thanks entirely to Prime Minister Schuschnigg and his government for trying to prevent annexation before the Nazi takeover under Hitler's appointment. He was the hero who saved the people from condemnation and avoided some punitive aspects compared to Germany. However, after World War II ended, Austrian territory remained split into 4 zones under British, French, American and Soviet occupation, aiming to eliminate Nazi remnants before restoring independence. It was also because of the Allies' leniency that the Provisional Austrian Government was formed in 1945. Together with successive generations, they deceived the world. As mentioned earlier, they propagated that Hitler was German, the enemy invader and ruler of Austria. In fact, they had welcomed the annexation, and interim Prime Minister Karl Renner was a supporter from the start. From their countrymen, they became victims. To alleviate guilt, the Austrian government prosecuted party members and national officers as required by the Allies. However, it was perfunctory, with very few convicted, only 34 death sentences, 10 life imprisonments, while 90% remained free, as Cold War tensions made the Allies less stringent in oversight. Afterwards, thousands who served under Hitler took power in the Austrian government. The biggest scandal was Kurt Waldheim, a former German army officer elected president in 1986, showing how Austria shielded former Nazis, people they once called enemies. After vilifying them, they stuck with evildoers to the end. Austrians comprised the majority in Germany's concentration camps, contributing to the deaths of millions of Jews. Yet their government refused responsibility, claiming Austrians and soldiers serving Hitler were coerced. As a result, no reparations were paid to Jewish victims throughout the 20th century until everything was exposed. Thus, from what we have learned, the theory of Austria as a victim of invasion is a myth.